Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I've got a very special guest. I know we've planned this for a while, but I'm very excited to have you on. Thank you so much, George, for coming on my channel. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Soph. Thank you for having me on. Great to be here.
Oh no, great to have you on because I know we've sort of spoken about it for a while about doing a video. So very happy to have you on. I wanted to start off this video by talking about the Arsenal women's victory against Man City, and then later on in the video I will talk about obviously the men's result against Leeds where we won 4-1. But talking on the women's team, obviously it was an incredible win for them. I know since the FA Cup, when Chelsea beat us, we've sort of shown this resilience and we've just become a lot better. We've been getting results and performing better. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on yesterday's win and performance from the team.
Yeah, it's like you say, since that Chelsea result in the FA Cup, it's been a bit of a huge change. Obviously won the Conti Cup. We played really well in that. And then we've had the Munich games, and then followed by the City game yesterday. I was at the game yesterday, and first half we were a bit flat. Maybe it was where it was the early kickoff, but the second half we completely changed it. People like Katie McCabe, and I think people like and Katrina Court, even like just all the subs that come on, because I thought we'd struggle, especially when Caitlin went off injured. But luckily we come back, got the win, and freed them on and scored another belter.
Yeah, she did have a really good game, and I did want to go on to talking about McCabe because she had a very good game. Obviously, she scored the goal right at the end. I know you were at the game as well. So, like, what was the atmosphere like when she scored right at the end?
It was pretty mental. Like when McCabe scored, my friend who I was with, we nearly just everyone was really happy, and I nearly went flying down about 4. It was pretty mad, and like while we were singing a song, it's probably one of the loudest I've heard Meadow Park, to be honest. So just kind of feeds more to what me and the group are trying to do with like building the atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well the atmosphere at games has definitely changed, and you get a lot more fans going now, especially for us. I do believe that you can hear them on the TV how passionate they are, and obviously McCabe had a great game. I thought she was going to be injured for this game, and she came in. Obviously, we all thought she might have to have some time out because I know she was on crutches in the Champions League game at the end. So I thought that would have been her, but it's good to see her back. Obviously, she did get a yellow card, and I think that would mean she misses her next WSL game. Just how important do you think it is to have her in the team, and do you think it'll be like a big blow for us if she's not playing?
I think like having Katie is massive for us because there she has, and just the character she shows. It is going to be a huge miss, but hopefully we'll have some of the injured players back by then. I think the game that she'll miss will probably be the Everton away game. So in that sense, not being as no disrespect, I think we should have enough without McCabe for that. If it was like the Man United game, then
Yeah.
I think we'll struggle. But yeah, McCabe is quite huge for us. Like going back to what you said, Soph. When I saw her in the lineup, I was shocked. I was like, oh, he was on crutches only for. But that just shows the will and the grit of her. But yeah, going forward, and hopefully by that time we should have people like Kim Little, Steph Catley, so people like that back. That's what the difference is. This now than earlier in the season. We've got the squad are all pulling together. We've had so many terrible injuries. Like it's just not even it's not even anymore. Like you think like Beth's injury, Viv, then Catley, Little, like Rafa, like so everyone near enough in that team has been injured. So forget with McCabe, she will be a miss whatever way we look at it, but I think we might just we'll be okay. At least it's only for one game.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think if it was like a Man United we were playing against or like a Chelsea, I'd be a bit more worried. But I guess the other teams, like I don't know if that's, I think it might be Everton. I know we've got a few rescheduled games because obviously we've got our Champions League run coming up. So yeah, I think it will be a big miss for Katie, but I suppose she'll get that rest as well because she's not playing. But talking on like the injuries this season, I think we've had like the worst luck this season with injuries. I did want to get your thoughts on like the team and how proud of the team you are. You know, they've had to deal with those injuries, and I think we've done really well.
Yeah, like I'm so proud like how far the girls have come on. Like to be even in the consideration of title race with having Beth Mead and Viv Miedemar out all season, Steph Curry, Rafa, Kim Little, like we probably shouldn't be where we are. Like, but I think winning games breeds a winning mentality. So you're a bit like, oh, we're going to do well. But we've beat City now. All we've got to do is keep winning our games. It's saying that a lot with Arsenal generally. We can. I think our next two league games are Manchester United and Everton, but I'm not sure reschedule how they fall. But yeah, it could be interesting. But I'm proud of how far we've come on. Even if we can't win the title and we finish like second or third, I think the future's bright at Arsenal. Like obviously we'd have Bev and Viv back. I think they'll go and buy a couple like players in the summer, and we've got a couple of young players coming through. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. I think this season was difficult. I think losing Beth Mead, but Miedemar as well, it's been really difficult for us. But I know there's like Caitlin Ford and Kim Little that might have injuries. I hope it's not too serious. I think for me, Kim Little in that midfield, she's just really important. And I suppose in our Champions League games, she's a player that I just think we need to have. But we have shown we can win without her. But I just think her and Leah Valti, and obviously Frida Marnham, they just work really well. I did want to talk about Frida Marnham's season because I think for me, like last season, I think she wasn't having as many games and she did play quite a bit, but I just think this season she's just really been like the star. She's just done really well. What have you made of her season? Because I know the other day in the Champions League, she did score like a quality goal, and we've sort of seen, I think for me as fans, we've seen that all season the type of goal she can score. So, you know, how impressed have you been with her season?
Yeah, so I've been quite impressed. I think she stepped up massively since Beth Mead have got their injury. Like when we wasn't sure where our goals were coming from, but Frida, she's been playing really well and she changes games. That's what I like. And like the goal against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, like goal is absolutely like it takes when you hear people who watch the men's games who just heard about it and say what a goal. Like it wouldn't be a miss in a men's game. So to be putting that technical ability on something is like pretty amazing. I think Frida's proper elevated herself, sorry, and then like she's one of our massive players now. Like it'd be interesting to see like kind of what the role she has when Miedemar and Mido are back in the team. But
Yeah.
you can add a striker to that as well, having Frida with Bev, him, Caitlin. So it's strong.
Yeah, definitely. I think even when we've got the players back, like Miedemar, Beth Mead, like Kim Littleford, all of them, it would just be great to have that squad depth now. I know we have got it a bit because we obviously brought players in, but I think, next season, even if we don't win the league this season, I just feel very proud with the team, how far they've come, and having to manage this well without with the injuries. And I just wanted to answer someone's comment on here. Someone said, "Well, Kim will be around for the World Cup." Now, Kim Little actually doesn't play for her country. She did retire. I think she did want to sort of focus more on Arsenal, because I know that she's getting older now, and I think she's probably only got a few good seasons left, and I think she knows her time will be up soon. So for her, she doesn't really play international, and I think for me that's probably best right now because she's done really well internationally during her career, and for her now to play for Arsenal is important. So I just wanted to answer that and just say hello to Niall, who's just joined. Hello, Niall. Hope you're okay. There are a few questions, but we'll come back to them a bit at the end before we obviously talk about the men's game. Now, obviously, in goal, Sinsberger wasn't playing. Sabrina came in, and she has played for a few games for Arsenal. I think coming into this game against Man City, we're fighting for the league. It was really important that she did put a shift in, and I just think she made some really, really good saves to help the team because in the first half, Man City, were throwing a lot of shots at the keeper, were doing really good. So what did you make of her performance? Were you impressed with it?
See, I really like Sabrina. So I think like if we've got Sabrina and Zinsberger as our two goalkeepers, like I think just generally I think she's more positive. Like they're both good shot stoppers, but Sabrina, like how to get the ball up a bit, like the pitch a bit more is a lot better for her.
Yeah.
Plus the song we have for her is a good one, so that as well. It's the Saliba, so Saliba, it's Sabrina.
I love that. That's amazing.
So yeah, she's really nice. So I thought she had a really good game against City. So just giving her more confidence as well. Like if you can put performances in against people like that, she gave people that she didn't really give people like Chloe Kelly an inch with the chances what they had. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming into this game for her, it's a massive game for her. I know she has played games before, but it also gives you that competition with her and Zinsberger. I know Zinsberger signed like a year deal, but it's good to have that with both of them. The option to bring one in, and yeah, I feel very comfortable with Sabrina. Like you said, she's good at playing the ball forward out on the field. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with her. Now, obviously, talking about the league situation in the WSL, it's very tight this season. And obviously we did win yesterday, and I think we're sat in third. I think we're a few points behind Man United and Chelsea. Obviously we know how much like women's football is growing, but do you think that the league being so competitive, do you think that's like really good for women's football?
Yeah, like I think it's great in football. The more competitive the league is, yeah. I like to be able to see four teams up there competing is a lot better than just seeing Arsenal and Chelsea dominating women's football for the amount of years that we have. Like Man United, seeing them being able to basically compete and with the top two teams is good to see. Same with Man City. So I think the women's football's come on a hell of a lot and become a bit more popular. That when we won the Euros, and then now you're seeing a bit more quite a bit more competition in the WSL. For me, there's still a huge, quite a big gap from them top teams to say team. I wouldn't say Tottenham, but they're rubbish. Whatever happens, aren't they, Tottenham? But And like teams towards the bottom, there's still a huge gap there, but
Yeah.
that can happen with that is that the more competitive games get played, the better, really. And if we do really well in the World Cup, I think that's what will make the women's football kind of absolutely go popular.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, like you said, with the Euros, that gave some players that I think deserve more credit, that recognition. Like Leah Williamson has done really well, and a lot of people really, get what a great footballer she is. And I guess it gives because like obviously at the Euros there was that. So many people filling up the stadiums and they get to watch the women's team. I think that's just great for women's football. And with the World Cup coming up, like you said, it would just give, that more exposure and more credit for the team, because I think women's football is great. Obviously talking on the WSL, I just want to ask you, who do you think will win it?
Oh, you put
Hard question.
Arsenal, of course.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I think it will be very tight though, because right now I do think it could be anyone. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. I think it's really hard to say right now. Obviously, Chelsea know what it takes to win the title. We've not won it for a little while. Obviously, last season we got very close, but I sort of think the team might use that this season as motivation to win it and succeed this season. So, yeah, that is definitely going to be hard. Now, talking about the Women's Champions League, we obviously got through to semi-finals. We are playing Wolfsburg. I think we're playing Wolfsburg away in one of our next games. I did want to ask you about that. Do you think we'll beat them on both legs and get to the final?
So I think we'll get through. I don't know if we'll beat them out there. I think we'll get a draw in Germany and then win at the Emirates, because the crowds get you through like games like that, and like the amount of tickets that have been sold. So from what I'm hearing, it's at least over 10,000. Them tickets have only been on sale for about 4 or 5 days. So
that's amazing, isn't it?
rate it's going, it'll probably be, I reckon, over 45, 50,000. Yeah, I think we like Wolfsburg and Bayern Munich are quite similar. So like they're close in the German league. Like Wolfsburg beat Munich last week, or Munich could beat that. So, and we've proved on both games that we were better than Munich. Like 2-1 doesn't represent the true story of that tie. Like we absolutely smashed on the door at in Germany, and due to referees being stupid and like just not putting away our chances, that's why it was so close. But we're on such a high, so I think I think we can beat anyone on our day. So
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I think like you said, that result wasn't really the true representation of how well we played. Like I think obviously since not Sinsberg, Stina Laxdenia scored, and since Friedemann got them goals, I just think we could have gone on and scored more goals, and I just think we were really amazing. I think that was a great result for our confidence, and obviously we did play Wolfsburg last time around in the Champions League, and it didn't end great. I do think we can beat them. Like you said, I think we could easily go away there, get a draw, get a little something from the game, and come back. And like you said, at the Emirates, I did want to kind of talk about that as well. I think last season when we played Wolfsburg, there was about 5,000 fans at the Emirates supporting the girls, and obviously in our Champions League game last week there was 21,000. So for me, I just think women's football is developing in the right way. For you, do you see like the crowds continuing to get bigger in the future?
yeah, I do. It's like part of something I'm part of, like build up the match atmosphere, and that's why we have the singing and that. Like it's like we're selling out Meadow Park week in, week out now, which I know is completely different to the women to the Emirates, but I think you'll be seeing like 45,000 for the Emirates, if not more. And I just think you're getting a whole diverse group of fans that are going now. Like you're having some people that come over from the game who
Yeah,
can't get tickets or something, so at least they go to see a game of football. Like you're getting the banter coming over from
yeah,
some people don't agree with it, but that's just that's just how life is. You can't agree with everyone, but like I've always said, as long as it's not abusive or derogatory, I don't have a problem with it. And players have said that they appreciate the banter and the atmosphere. Like Leah Williamson has said it, Roebuck, Hannah Hampton. So I just think these crowds are gonna still continue to thrive, and at the moment they'll thrive because ticket prices are cheap. Like it may not always be that scenario, but at the minute, why not? Like for example, you want to go and watch the Arsenal women playing the Champions League semi-final, the most you'll pay for a ticket is probably at least under 11, £12.
yeah. That's quite cheap, isn't it? I think there's different reasons why people go. I think you're starting to see like families now. People are going with the family, and I guess people just might get tickets for free, or they might be going to watch the first women's football match the first time. I just think people are starting to learn now more about women's football, and I just see a big growth. I know in the North London derby, when obviously Beth Mead was playing, there was like I think over 40,000 fans there, and I know Leah Williamson in an interview was talking about getting like 60, and I think right now, like I think we can get about I think we can aim for like 45 maybe, because I just think, like you said, the tickets are going fast for this game. And I think because we put such a good performance on in the Champions League, I think that shows a lot of fans how good the team is. And people want to watch Arsenal if we're doing well. So I personally see it growing. I think with the World Cup coming up, I think that gives it advertisement, and that gives it, like, there's so many amazing players in that England side. Obviously, we don't know who will be playing yet, but there's Leah Williamson, Georgie Stanway, Kira Walsh, all of those players, and even though they're from different leagues, it just shows you the advertisement, and I just think it shows you that it gives you that exposure, and obviously when you start to see women pundits, male pundits together, and I just think we are starting to see like equal opportunities given. And I did want to just discuss this before we go on to the men's game at the weekend. Do you think there's anything that the clubs or the footballers from the men's team should do to kind of promote or advertise like women's football to help it, become bigger? And like, say if we're having a game at the Emirates, like, do you think maybe some of the men footballers should, let people know about that? Or what do you think?
I think it comes in swings and roundabouts. So, like, because like Arsenal promote it themselves. They could make it a bit easier getting tickets when they all go on sale, and not so stressing. But I think like Mikel Arteta was at the quarter final at the Emirates, so I think things like that help. Like, and the more people share it, mass share it all over the place, and just tell people. It's not ramming it down people's throats because you don't want to do that. So you want to do it organically. So I think just developing it how we are now, and just anyone that people know that want to go to games, to share it. Like you think, like at Meadow Park, you get like 3,000 sellouts because that's how much they have. The true vision that Arsenal are talking about is playing more games at the Emirates and eventually making that their home. So you in life you have to learn to walk before you run.
Mm.
So like at the minute you need to build up the fan base a lot more for it to feel the Emirates. So
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, at Meadow Park, with 3,000 fans, I think you're seeing obviously it's a smaller stadium, but I think with the difference I noticed with Meadow Park to the Emirates is that I think sometimes at Meadow Park you can hear the songs, the chants a bit more from the TV, but I do think we are starting to fill up the Emirates Stadium more. I do think Arsenal do advertise it quite well. And obviously, I guess because women's football's on the rise, you are seeing more people promote it and seeing it, outside the Emirates, on TV. So there is that advertisement there. I did want to read out Tom's comment about what Viv said. So it was interesting that Viv said on TV that the Emirates isn't the men's ground, it's the club's ground. So going forward, should move to the women venue from Bournemouth to the Emirates. I think for me, like obviously, our games this season, we've had a lot more at the Emirates, and I think we are growing in like the attendance and how many people are there. Like in one of the games last season, there was about 5,000 fans, and like I get that it's a midweek game, but if it was the Arsenal men's in the Champions League game on the midweek, everyone would be there. So I just think, like, if it's not for you, then that's fair enough. And like you said, we wouldn't want people force it on people, but I just think the women's team kind of deserved this like love from the crowd, deserved more attendance, and I just think to see over 20,000 fans at the Emirates the other night, I think it's just what they deserve and more, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think the more and more that coverage that it gets shown, I think the atmosphere and the crowd numbers will get bigger, and that's why I think if England do well in the World Cup, or even, well, we don't know, might even win it, like it'll be huge. Like, and I've had friends who have said to me that like they're going to the Champions League so far to back the team, and like Tom's right, like with what Viv says, like the Emirates is a ground for Arsenal. It shouldn't have to specifically be for one or the other, and I think this is one of the obstacles that we come up against so many times, is because so many people compare the men's game. For me, it's football at the end of the day. It's not, you don't hear the result come out and say, oh, the Arsenal men this or the Arsenal women. It shouldn't be like that. We're Arsenal, we're one family, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I just see, like, I know people might have different views on this, but I just see us like we're just one team. Whether, like, even if you're watching the under-18s, the women's, the men's, we're all just Arsenal. And I just think we should all go to support the team. And I just believe this team has, become more competitive, have grown. So yeah, I do agree with that. I did want to read out a question for you to answer. Harry says, have you two ever met any footballers from the men or women's team? Have you met? I know you met Ian Wright the other day, but what was that like? I'm going to be honest, I saw that and I thought, oh my God, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, our mate Tom, he was a bit jealous, I think. But, yeah, I met quite a few of the women's team. I've met Beth Mead. I've met Tom's favourite, Laura Villamoita. And the only one I haven't really actually met is Leah Williamson. So that's the one I'm waiting. I'm hopefully going to do the end of the season. Men's wise, I've met Arteta before.
Oh, that's nice.
Trying to think about. There's not many of the men's side that I've met, but yeah, meeting Ian Wright was pretty amazing. Like, we was in the Tollington and he was there. He come over, spoke, had a picture. He was really nice. I was quite starstruck, and I was like,
I know, it'd be hard if I remember right. Yeah, I'd be like, I wouldn't know what to say. I'd be speechless.
really nice, quite inclusive.
Yeah, go on.
With the women, it's a lot easier to meet the players like afterwards because they come over and stuff. So
yeah, it's a bit more easy, I suppose, because I guess at the stadiums it's hard to meet the men's players because it's obviously busier and it's a bit chaotic at the men's games, which I think is a nice thing because the women's have that connection with the fans, and Tom is just saying, I'd have died if I'd met Righty. And Righty is such a legend. And talking on like role models, I think he's a great role model for women's football. I think to see how passionate he is just incredible. And it's good to have that male person male footballer to present it well and give women's football the recognition that it deserves. And for me, I haven't met any of like the current footballers. I would love to meet all the women's players like Beth Mead. She seems really lovely and I think she's really inspirational. I have met Ray Parlour when I was at a game this season. He was lovely. I can't remember. I think that might be it. Tom said, first player I met at Highbury was Paul Davis, was a legend. Ah, I love that. I'd love to know in the comments who you guys would love to meet. For me, I'd love to meet, Kevin Campbell. He just seems like dead down to earth. Dead genuine. For you, George, if you could meet any player like from Arsenal, whether it's past or present, who would you pick?
So going back, Kevin Campbell, I talk to quite a lot. So,
oh, I love him. He's so lovely. He's just so genuine.
And everything. So it's like, yeah, he's really nice. To be fair, who would I meet? I would love to have met, like Rocky Rocastle,
Yeah, so
what a legend he was. But now playing now, everyone goes for the obvious ones, but mine would probably have to be it's got to be Benny White. I absolutely love Ben White. I think he's brilliant. He don't give a crap at anyone. It's just naturally down to earth. So he just sounds like the sort of person you'd go to the pub with.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, he'd be really nice to me. He's just he doesn't care about things, and I just love his attitude and things. He just seems like someone you would have a laugh with. I think from the first team, I do really obviously Saka is amazing. I like Odegaard too. I think all of them I just love, and I think for me Ramsdale as well. He just seems like super funny, down to earth, and a great guy to talk to. Someone said met Tony Adams, David O'Leary, Niall Quinn, Martin Kieran, and Arsene Wenger, and Charlie Nicholas. I would love to meet Arsene Wenger. For me, I know for a fact I would cry if I met him. He's just one of my heroes. And like you said, Rocastle as well. He was before my time, but he just seems like a great ambassador for the club, and he still inspires the players now. Tom said, I'd say Laura, not Laura Woods. We know which Laura you love, okay? So I did want to go on to talk about the men's team now. Obviously, we did beat Leeds at the weekend 4-1 at the Emirates. We've obviously got 9 cup finals to go. How are you feeling now about the league, and what did you make of that performance?
I thought first off, I don't think we were that good. We got the penalty, and then we seemed to settle down. What I really like is how the team are one unit. Erdegaard was there to take the penalty. He was like, no, hand it to Gabby, get him a goal, gives him the confidence. Having a fire in Gabby Jesus is quite important for us for the rest of the season. How am I feeling about the league? Game by game. I'm saying this. I'll probably say this on the 38th game when we're still 5 or 8 points clear. But I just get nervous. I'm nervous about the Liverpool game. But I don't know why, but I'm more nervous about that one than the City game, to be honest. So, but if we want to win titles, you've got to go and put performances in these places. I think we're gonna I just thought it all round performance. Xhaka, he's how the turnaround he's done. I'll fully hold my hands up. I was one of those fans who was get him out of the club after what he done, but I've had to swallow some big humble pie. But Yeah, I just think like so as a team, like we're fine. You think Saka was even on the bench, and we still score 4 goals.
And I was surprised seeing Saka on the bench as well. Yeah, I think that performance, like you said, I think the first 30 minutes I would say was quite slow. Do you reckon that was down to the fact that it was the international break and the players had been like away for a bit? Do you think that's why they struggled to kind of get into the rhythm of things in the first 30 minutes?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's a bit of two things really. Obviously, you've got to get back in that rhythm after your international playing with different types of players. Like if you've been playing under Gareth Southgate, then yeah, there's a lot to fall back with. But also, like, it is Leeds. Leeds are one of those teams like they're near the bottom. They try to stop you playing the free flowing football. Sometimes you've got to just open the door a different way. Like you were seeing the movement what Erdegaard and Martinelli were making. Like, and I think someone who's really, really important for giving us another option is Leandro Trossard. I think it's got to be one of the signings of the season. Like I know it only happened in January, but what he's doing, like the amount of goals he's set up and he's even scoring, like I think he's amazing. Like he's one of my favourite players for a lot of Arsenal. But also with Arsenal as well, there was like a sickness bug around the club. So that was one of the reasons Saka didn't play. And actually Ben White had that. But I think that shows the character they have for like you think they're not 100%, but they're still putting their bodies on the line. Said it to our I think you had him on the show yesterday, Jonesy, like if the Arsenal to last season, which is only a few months ago, to the Arsenal now, it's like a complete different squad, but they're all the same players.
Yeah, do you think like obviously last season we did miss out to top 4? I always say there were positives from last season because, you know, watching a documentary, you could see how much it meant to the team, you know, to, you know, get the top 4. They didn't get it, but you could see how passionate they were, how much they loved this club. So do you reckon that, you know, missing out to top 4 has kind of, you know, motivated them to, you know, do better this season?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think Rambo said it. When you get so close to something and you lose it, it hurts you. Like a mark, but they don't want to be hurt like that again. So let's, being honest, if we're like we've got loads of amazing gooners watching. If I said to you at the start of the season that Arsenal would be 8 points clear in April to win the title, you'd tell me I'd probably need sectioning or something or.
I know it's crazy, isn't it? None of us expected it. I certainly didn't. I think for me, going into the season, I was a bit disappointed we had missed out, but I did see so many positives from last season. I thought, you know, the season, let's try and get top 4, maybe, you know, come third, go a bit higher than top 4, but to be where we are is just incredible. For you this season, obviously we've got Jesus, Zinchenko, some players from Man City, Trossard's really helped. What players for you, I know it's kind of hard to pick out one player, but what players would you say have kind of been so influential in our title race this season?
I think Zinchenko's massive for us because he's 1 minute he's left back, then he's at centre. He's just everywhere. I think having that winning mentality of Zinny and Jesus in the team, I think really helps. But I think Ben White has been massive. Like he just slotted into that right back role. He ain't even a right back, but like he's even started scoring. So Saliba, there's so many players. Erdegaard has been probably one of the best attacking midfielders in the world for me this season.
Yeah.
Me and the cannon, Liam, we've been saying it all season. Once that glass ceiling breaks, there's nothing stopping Martin Erdegaard. I think they've all done their part. Tommy's favourite Super Eddie and Ketia. He loves a bit of Eddie. When he come in the team, he scored the goals that he needed to. I think we got more out of him than we probably thought we would. And then having that Saliba and Real partnership, I think, is really like major as well. Like, I don't know. Like, so if you could name, I think it's one of those seasons you can't say that one player's outshone anyone, because I think as a collected unit they've done that themselves. But just back to when we're talking about what I would say about top four, there's a quick story here, and Tommy and me laughed about it the other day. So at the start of the season, me and Tom spoke, and I told him I booked a hotel for the last game of the season because I thought we'd get top four, and it was like something really cheap, £50 or £60, and now people are booking that same hotel for like double the price. So there must be something in it.
I know. Do you know what I was thinking at? Do you know what I've also seen? Like, to go to the game on the last day of the season, I've looked at the prices and it's like £1,500, something ridiculous. I guess no one would have thought we would be in the position we are. It'll be dead busy that day. So good job for you looking ahead. Yeah, I've got some questions, but I will come back to them at the end, and we can talk about them because I do have quite a few. So I'm not ignoring any of you. I'm just looking at these. So yeah, I agree with that. I think having them players from Man City has definitely helped the mentality. I think Jesus has been out, but we mustn't forget he's probably been in the dressing room, helped them. And Zinchenko, for me, I think he's a real leader. I know people might not agree with that, like rival fans, but I do believe he is. I think if he wasn't in this team, I don't think we would have done as well this season. I just think he's got that winning mentality. He's got the leadership. He's won so much at Man City. And I just think, to let Zinchenko go for that, I just think is a big loss for Man City. I think Zinchenko has helped us so many times by, scoring the goals at the right time, or just helping the team in any way he can with his leadership qualities or the passes he can make. So I definitely think he has a big part to play. Obviously, Odegaard as well has stepped up massively this season. I was talking to Jonesy yesterday, and for example, when we got that penalty yesterday, Odegaard could have easily just taken it for himself, but he didn't. He gave it to Jesus because he thought, Jesus probably needs that for his confidence. So I just think it just shows you how mature this team is, how much they're developing. And obviously, I did want to discuss Trossard. He has done really well this season. Like you said, he's probably been a signing of the season. Did you kind of expect him to gel it so much in this team? Because for me, I feel like he's been here for years.
Yeah, to be fair, when we was talking about signing Trossard, I was like, what a signing. Get it done. Cheap business. Amazing. I didn't think he'd fly off as quick as he has. Let's be real, we're looking at Mapailo Mudryk for 100, whatever they wanted, and he's useless at Chelsea. And we've got Trossard, so I think, and he's got a bit of a gel thing because he's got obviously Ben White there, who he's played with before, and I think Arteta and De Serbi, they play similar football, so having put someone like Leandro Trossard, I just think he's pretty amazing. One person I did forget who I think's been really important is Granit Xhaka. I think he's playing a bit further in front, further forward. I think it's the first time he's scored over 5 goals in the league, and while he's been at Arsenal. So, I think we're seeing the Xhaka instead of the one who's getting sent off or booked and doing stupid things. So, and in the experience he has, I think, like you say, you watch the documentary, and I think a lot of people's perspectives would change on Granit, and now his performances are in that. And from what I'm hearing, as well, so I'd be really happy with that. But Trossard, like, how old is he? Is he 27, 28? He's still got a good 4 or 5 years in him, and yeah, it's not a bad start, is it? Sign in January, win the league in May. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Trossard's 28, so that's really good that he still has like a few good years in him, and I'm the same. I was very happy to have him. I think with that Modric stuff, I just think we were getting him, but it's not the end of the world if we don't, as long as we do have that plan B. We have someone else that we can bring in, and obviously Trossard was that person. Also with Jorginho, a lot of fans weren't very happy with him coming in. They were a little bit, he's a bit older now. He's probably not in his prime. He's probably, done well for himself. Obviously, World Cup with Chelsea. How have you felt with him coming in?
I weren't a huge fan of us signing him, just because I don't like us signing people from Chelsea because it meant the time just not work like with
I know, it's ridiculous.
the David Luiz, like it didn't work. But fair play, Jorginho, when he's played, he's done really well. Against he's got us the points basically against Aston Villa. But yeah, I think what is good so far as well is that Arsenal FC have actually got a squad now. Like, there's a couple of places that you think, oh, I would like a couple more players there, but like you're saying yourself, we don't have to play Partey for a whole game. We can bring on Jorginho, or you don't have to play Saka or whoever for so long because you've got Smith Rowe, Nelson, Trossard. So there's
Yeah.
opportunities for everyone to get a play. Like, I know a lot of Arsenal fans are critical of Fabio Vieira, but for me, I'd give him a bit more time. I think he'll be a decent player. But Jorginho, he's coming. He knows what his job is. He knows he's on the run. Like, he's 31, but he'll be won't a regular starter. He's there for the experience, and I think that's what's different now to last season. In the January, I think that's what lost us top four because now we've brought Dino and Trossard in and Jakob. Like, Kivior's there for the future for me. Like, and that's why I don't think you're seeing him play as much. But he's just backup. But Jorginho and Trossard are so Premier League experience and international experience. They're not like it's what people forget. Jorginho won a Euro, sorry, with Italy, and then Trossard's been playing in tournament football with Belgium, so he knows what it's like to play in pressured situations. And I think as well, people forget that Trossard does play with Kevin De Bruyne for
Yeah.
can't be too bad.
Yeah, I think as well. I think it's only Kevin De Bruyne this season who's had more, I think, assists from open play. So Trossard's, definitely learning off him. He's doing really well. I think it's really good that our players that we've brought in have adapted like quickly because for me, I just wanted to see that happen. We needed players that would bring quality, would make a difference as team because the squad depth that Man City have got is just ridiculous for me. They've got so many players that they can bring on, and I'm so glad that we did do that in January because we did definitely need to bring in some players. Obviously, you did mention Xhaka before. I think for Xhaka, I think a lot of fans. I'm not here to judge anyone. I think fans were critical. I think people's opinions can change. I wasn't very happy with how it was at the time. I understand he did get abuse. We obviously probably didn't know that at the time, but when we were looking at his performances, they probably weren't at the best, like at the Arsenal standard that we should have. Obviously he has turned things around. I think a bit of that is with Arteta. I think Arteta has really convinced him to stay. And Xhaka's really enjoying his football. He's probably playing the best football he's played right now. So what have you made of his season so far?
Yeah, I think it's been a good ride. Like, obviously, I weren't expecting us to be 8 points clear,
Yeah.
especially in April. But every time I say I think we're going to struggle, we and proved that we're not going to. Like, we lost the City, and I thought, oh, here we go. And then we went and done 2 or 3 away games on the trot. Then I thought, oh, we'll probably struggle against Spurs because our record at Spurs was not very good. Showed them that there is only one proper team in North London, so they're rubbish. Then we've beat when we played Liverpool at home, and like, I think coming up now, this is going to be the hardest. Like, as closer and closer it gets, they're going to start to believe themselves, and it's the hope that kills you. So it's
but, yeah, I agree. I think Jasper Xhaka, it's been definitely a journey. But I think it'll be a very beautiful ending to the story if we do win the league and he wins it with us. I know he's wanted to do that before he leaves Arsenal. So I think now, like, if he did leave after this year or whenever he chooses to leave, I think a lot of fans will think of the good memories because those have been overshadowed by the bad. And it's just lovely to see, players turn it around for the club. Now, I did want to answer some questions that I know I've got quite a few, before we go. So I just wanted to answer Harry's question. Now, how are we feeling about Arsenal's next few games? Obviously, we do have Anfield next. I don't know in order which one it is. It might be like Southampton, West Ham coming up. So we've got them coming up, but we've also got Man City, we've got Newcastle away. So how are you feeling about them games we've got?
I'm only nervous about the Liverpool game just because of if we play how we play this season, then we have a good chance to actually get a positive result at Anfield. I think we'll beat. I think we can beat West Ham and do the job against Southampton. Them games don't really. So like the games we've got Liverpool away, West Ham away, Southampton at home, and Chelsea at home. Out of those, if you said to me that you can have 10 points, I'd think that's the sort of place we want to be. Because at the end of the day, 23 points is 7 wins and 2 draws. So you got to stop focusing. Oh, I hope City drop points. It don't matter. Just win your own games. But
yeah,
I don't know. We could beat. It all depends what Liverpool turn up as well. Soph, as well. Like if it's the Liverpool that turn up against Man United, then it's going to be a very, very hard game. But if it's a Liverpool that turn up against like Man City and Bournemouth, then we have a chance. So
yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because like with Liverpool, they can beat Man United like 7-0, and then they can just lose to Bournemouth and lose to Man City at the weekend. Yeah, I've said this. Despite Liverpool's, they've not had the best season. I just think for me, going to Anfield is going to be difficult. We've not won there since, I think, 2013, which is like ridiculous. So this could be our time to win that game. And I'm like you, I'm taking it a game at a time. You don't know. The Premier League is very unpredictable. You just can't predict it. And I think every game will be tough. I think Southampton, we drew with them before, and yeah, I think it will all be hard. I guess the games that do stand out to me is probably Anfield, Etihad, and Newcastle away. Newcastle are fighting, the top 4. They obviously beat United yesterday, so they're a great side who are doing very well. So I just think every game is going to be hard, but I'm taking it a game at a time. Just wanted to thank Nick very much for your support and thank you for watching. Tom's in the comments. He's saying, George, put lights on or 50p in the meter. I think he says, I think we'll win the league home to Brighton. I love how honest Tom is. He just doesn't care.
yeah, he's
brutal, but we love him. Right, I'm gonna scroll up to the top. I just wanted to answer Harry's question. How was meeting Laura Woods? Yeah, it was lovely. She's really lovely. I just hope everyone in the Arsenal fan base gets to meet her one day because she's really lovely and inspirational. I did want to answer Harry's question. What is your dream signing for Arsenal? I've always said like I really do like Declan Rice. I think for me, he would be a really good player. I just think he gets on well with, the Seckers, the young players, in the England squad as well. So yeah, I just think he would be a great player to have. There's the Mbappes who are great. I think, just having a good striker to come in as well. So yeah, who would your dream signing be?
Probably Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't think we're going to get him, but yeah, I like Declan Rice as well. But probably if you said dream signing, it'd probably be Jude Bellingham. I wouldn't. I'd also like. I've always liked Lautaro Martinez as a centre forward, but I don't think we're going to get someone like that. But yeah, probably Bellingham, because if you had if you had Bellingham and Partey in that midfield,
Yeah, Jude Bellingham. I just love watching him. Like, as a football fan, it's just nice to admire his talent, and I just think he would fit well in this young team. Tom said we've known each other for a long time, so it's fine. Everyone's telling you to turn on your lights. God. So yeah, guys, if you do have any more questions before we go, we've got probably a few minutes. Been on for about 55, so yeah, if you've got any other questions, let me know. Someone did say if Arteta went one day, who would you want? And do you know what it is now? I'm so used to Arteta at Arsenal, I just couldn't imagine him not here. Like, to me, I just see how he's transformed this club and how well he's done. And for me, because I'm so used to him and everything he's done at Arsenal, I just really couldn't imagine like Arsenal without him.
Yeah. Don't know who I'd want really. Probably someone who's similar to him. So someone, like obviously it's a long way to have him, but someone like who's learning on the ropes, a bit like Jack Wilshere, someone like that. But I don't know. If you said to me that I'm manager now, I'd probably say Nagelsmann. I think he's a very, very good manager. I know he's probably going to end up going Chelsea, but he's a good manager. Or De Zerbi at Brighton. I think they're them sort of managers, but Arteta's not going anywhere for a while. So
yeah, I can't imagine him leaving us anytime soon. I think he's just going to be at Arsenal for a very long time. I did want to ask you a question probably before we go. We can go in about when it gets to an hour or so. Obviously Chelsea, they haven't really gave managers time. Looking back now, obviously people, did feel like Arteta wasn't the right guy to take us forward. Are you happy now that, the Kroenkes have actually gave Arteta time? Because it has been a journey at Arsenal for him. There have been quite a few up and down. So looking back, are you really grateful they have gave Arteta time?
Yeah. As we've been well, so if you know I've been an Arteta fan from day one. So a lot of grief for being an Arteta fan. So in actually talking to Dan Potts who does the Lee Judge's show and stuff. And me and him there's like shows where me and him clash about Arteta, where he didn't want him and I did, and I messaged him, went, you still not want him? So yeah, I always hold that bargaining tool. So yeah, I'm happy that they gave Arteta time. He's delivering what he said, really. Well, he could deliver what he says, by the end of the season. But you think to even be title challenging now, Sophie, we're it's a so yeah. I think they've still, even if it does go wrong at the end of the season, which I hope it doesn't, but they've still got to continue to back him.
Yeah, I think so. I guess it obviously has been a big journey of Arteta. There's been times where it's been hard to really kind of get behind it. I suppose coming 8th a few times we don't really, we expect better. But I also understand, like, if people are Arteta in, that's also okay. People maybe don't think he's the right guy at that time to take us forward. I also respect that. And yeah, I know what you mean. I think some fans that were Arteta out, it's been hard to kind of explain that, why we back him. I've been, I think since Villarreal, I think when that happened, I was disappointed and I did find it hard to be positive. But I also respect those that have supported Arteta on his journey, and I'm really happy it's worked out. And I do like to give managers time, because I think they need time to bring their own players in. Like Arteta has needed time to bring his own players in, and to produce what he wants to do with them players. Like with players that were played under Wenger, played under Unai Emery, they did let us down, and they did the Arteta down. So I just think Arteta's needed time to do what he wanted to do with the players he wanted, like the Sinchenkos, the Jesuses, and like those type of players. So I just think he needed time to bring his own players in and to get the backing that he needed. And yeah, I'm glad, looking back now, I'm glad they did, because I'm not a fan of getting rid of managers like Chelsea do. So I'm very, very happy we've done that. Tom just said, Bruce Rioch was horrendous. You'll be glad you missed that spell. I mean, I've heard a lot about him, and I know a bit about that. I think for me, I guess maybe the season before last season, it felt like this is the worst it's ever been as an Arsenal fan. Like, getting knocked out of the Europa League, it's quite, disappointing really as a club to see that we decline in that way. But I definitely think as a club we have had a few difficult moments, difficult seasons, but I'm very, very happy to see us back where we belong at the top. Hopefully we'll win the league. But yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure chatting to you, George, today, and thank you all so much in the comments for joining us, for talking with us about Arsenal, about both the men and the women's team. To those that may not follow you on social media or are new to this show, could you just tell them where to find you on your social media platforms?
Yeah. So you'll find me at George AWFC. So that's at on Twitter. And you'll probably just find me on there mainly. And then also I have my own YouTube channel which is called Golden Goal. So that's where we talk about all the football stuff. So yeah, you'll find me on there. Thanks for having me on, Soph. It's amazing to be on, and keep doing what you're doing and smashing those barriers.
Oh, George, thank you. You're so kind, and honestly, we'll definitely have to have you on again, and it would be nice to have you on weekly or whenever you're free, because it's been lovely talking to you. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Now Tom is out here in the comments. Tom, I will not answer who the worst player I've ever signed in my time as an Arsenal fan, because I would never say that. Thank you very much, Harry, for coming on. Really enjoyed chatting with you. Tom said you'll find George in the dark right now.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, leave George alone. Yeah, George will definitely come on again. It's been lovely talking to you. I know we've been like good friends on Twitter for a while, and I hope you all can follow him on Twitter, hear what he's got to say, and check out his channel as well. I've always been a big fan of you, and you're very inspirational, and yeah, you're a big part of the Arsenal community. Hopefully one day I'll get to meet you. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Georgie's channel as well. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you all have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for coming on my channel today. And yeah, I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye.